Hi, I'm Justin Renfrow, 8-year pro, CFL, and NFL. And when the world was on fire, I had to get my life back.
Ah, listen, we got Justin here with us today. Super excited. So, a year when the world was on fire, like, tell us more about that. What do you mean by you got yourself together? Like, what was out of whack?
Um, Honestly, everything was out of whack. I had a fracture and a tear in my knee, had a fracture and a tear in my ankle. I was drinking, taking painkillers away from my family, really depressed. And my mom's 60th birthday was the weekend that COVID happened, and that was probably the best thing that ever happened for me. I was able to come home, be surrounded by my family, and get my life back.
Like, so I want to that what you just said is like multi-layered. So I want to start by one element of it. And you mentioned family. Explain to us your family dynamic.
My family dynamic, my mom, dad, they're not together anymore, but they're still close. Like, they still talk and they agree everything. If it's about me, man, they're on the phone. Like, I'll wake up and like call my mom and she'll be like, "Oh, I'm on the phone with your dad. Call me back in 10 minutes." Like, so that's and playing sports in another country, that family dynamic. So before I went to Canada, including my 3 years in the NFL, my parents had only missed 3 games in my whole career.
Wow.
So going to Canada, I think my dad seen me play. Compared to I've been in Canada for 4 years, my dad seen me play twice, and that's about it.
So your father not coming to a lot of your games growing up, was that like a sense of motivation or a source of motivation for you moving forward?
Uh, I mean, I guess my parents always being at the games, I guess I felt I had to perform well, and that was definitely a big thing for me. Uh, it was a big, I always wanted to kind of be like my dad, from a young age, going to reunions with him and stuff. Like, his friends, all like going to his friend's house as a 6-year-old, they're bringing out the paper clippings for the school year, and almost every paper clipping contained my dad. Like, and so,
What sport did your father play, and like how did that, I guess, present pressure to you?
so it's presented some pressure. My dad played football and basketball, but I think it wasn't as much pressure as I wanted to live up to what he did. My dad was one of the first African Americans in the Interact School League and one of the first African American captains. So as a as his son who came around, he graduated in the 70s, and I was coming around in 2009. That's when I graduated high school. In the same exact league, I was a captain and one of the like highly ranked players there. I was top 100 as an underclassman and all that stuff.
Right.
So it was more just trying to live up to, I was just as good as Pops and trying to always chase that.
Got you. So for the people who are not from the Philadelphia area, kind of explain to them what the Interact is.
So the Interact, I would say it's probably the most prestigious academic league out here, and it's turned into a academic sports league in the Philadelphia area, where you get most of the kids academically are going Ivy League, and then us who excel at the sports as well, we tend to go to uh higher academics, but still excelling D1 schools. Like myself, for example, as a 10th grader, my first offer was from Stanford. So like, it's those type of things come with, going to a good school and being prepared to attend college.
Definitely. You can see my Haverford jersey in the back. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we both are definitely two
yeah,
Interact alum. But the thing I
yeah.
want you to talk about is, one, you didn't just have the pressure of being a black kid that went to Interact school. you had the external pressure of your dad was actually a star within that league. Like he's one of the trailblazers of that academic league. So what things about your experience in the interact, whether academic, personal, social, do you wish that you were able to give yourself advice about that you know now that you think you would have gave yourself back then?
I think the biggest thing would be about my decision making and kind of the pressures I felt. I'll be on. It's not a regret or anything, but definitely I would have told myself to do the recruiting process. I kind of got overwhelmed with it. I had every coach every coach on the Big East and ACC was after me. As soon as I turn on instant messenger, 20 coaches, because that was before text messaging and all that was regulated. So that was every coach's loophole: email, Instagram, not Instagram, email, Facebook,
Right.
instant messenger, AIM. A lot of kids this era probably won't even remember, don't even know what an AIM account is.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that I would tell myself to just do the process. I went out there, I went to the camps, got ranked in the top 100. I went to the Nike camp at Stanford, took my Stanford visit, but also did the Nike camp. And then I did the Nike camp as a linebacker. I didn't even play DN.
That's crazy.
And I actually, like, I got a lot of pub off of doing that camp. And you know, I've never been like a cocky person, never been really about a lot of hype. And so I shied away from that. So going into my junior year, I committed to Virginia because pretty much every other big athlete at my school went to Virginia. I had buddies going there already too. So I just kind of committed there. And that would be one thing I think I wish I did a little different. I ended up still going to Miami. Miami was a school that came later on. Tennessee, a lot of SEC schools tried to talk to me later on and I just was shut down. So that
Yeah.
would be one thing I would probably say to my younger self.
Before we go into what I want to definitely talk about in terms of road to recovery, which would be like the last year we got yourself together, explain to us what the experience at Miami was like. Because I know a lot of people definitely want to know what that was like.
Yeah, so the experience for me, again, that Miami was coming off a tough time. So the experience for me at Miami was, the best in the world. Anytime anybody talks anything Miami, I'm gonna be the first cheerleader. And I mean, people who know my story know I left Virginia because a coach said he was gonna hang me from a shed, and then a cheating case was brought up against me. And there's been a lot of hubla and a lot of people try to say, oh, I'm making this up, did it, that, and this and that. But the fact of the matter is, UVA is a public school and they have the honor system. You can go to the record books, look up the case. Two teachers lied on me, and it's in the record books. And so the two teachers tried to lie on me to keep me. And I still strongly believe the football team made them bring these charges up to keep me from transferring to Miami. And once I got to Miami, they still tried to keep messing with me. But you can't stop God. And it's funny, and I tell people all the time, this is the main thing I tell kids. The same coach that sat in the locker room and said he would make sure I never played in the NFL. That's the same coach who was the strength coach when I got my first sack in the NFL. And that's something I preach to kids all the time and I try to tell, like, I tell people, I had so many people throughout my life telling me I wasn't good, telling me I wasn't going to make this, telling me I wasn't going to make that, trying to bring fake cases up against me, and I still made it because I just wanted it bad enough. Well, imagine if all those people was a cheerleader giving me another little bit to get me there. And so that's what I try to do with my life now is anytime I see somebody, just like I told you, I'm gonna go in the morning and train with Leon. I'm just trying, just give him any nuggets I have. He's got a good opportunity in front of him this year.
Definitely.
And, you know, so.
Yeah, definitely happy and excited for the opportunity Leon has. I'm even more thankful that you're willing to be there within that
Yeah.
journey with him. But I just want to speak on you're an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid, and you have a coach at a white institution who people don't realize the power that these coaches have over a child's future.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you he's going to hang you from a shed. So how do we get to a point where he even utters these words out of his mouth? Like what him got to him to the point to feel like
And
he said to you?
that's the thing, like what got there, simply asking to use the hand rope. So I was a D lineman. That's another thing a lot of people might not know. I played D line my whole career until the NFL. That's when I got switched to the O line.
Okay.
So I was still a D lineman. We asked to use the hand ropes. Those help you keep your hands inside to strike breastplates. Well, he thought it was funny to say the only rope he needed was to tie in a noose and hang us from the shed. And so that was deemed funny. I mean, and you can go look it up. Jonathan Lewis was a graduate assistant coach at UVA that year. He left UVA that year. You'll see he went to Virginia Tech and has been coaching at Virginia Tech since. So and you know, a lot of people try to say, oh, that didn't happen. Oh, this didn't happen. Well, if that didn't happen, why did a fake cheating case get brought up against me too? Once I announced I was transferring.
Right.
That's on record. You can't erase that. Two teachers lied. You can go look in the honor case books and find that.
And two things I have to say about that is one, you came from Penn Charter, or sorry, you came from an Interact school, which shows that you can handle the academic rigors. And then, like, how can you even defend it? I guess it's not funny in any way telling a kid you're going to hang him with a black kid at that. And UVA has a other bunch, like a million other cases. So I don't think people need any proof that this happened. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I mean, 2 years after that, they let the KKK run through the campus and run over African American students. So, I mean, it's not much that needs to be explained about what goes on there. And I got a lot of ridicule for that. When the KKK march happened, all that, I said I'm not surprised, and I put that on social media. And you know, a lot of people had a lot to say. Oh, you're bitter. Than no, I'm not bitter. Like they let racism go on there. You go look at UVA, the bridge there. They put KKK on the bridge and things like that. Like there's been a lot of racial stuff there that we gonna sweep it under.
I'm sorry that you had to go do that. But just even from that, how are you able to recover from that? So this happens, you go through the cheating scandal, you go to Miami, but what is that opportunity? Or what is that experience like? Because you're in a
I'll
position.
be honest. That would so I had to cut you off because we can't I can't skip through it like that. Like they brought so I did everything I need to set myself up to graduate.
Okay.
It's the last day it's the last day of the semester. I'm pretty much I got to take 2 summer classes. I'm gone scot free. All of a sudden this teacher calls me in. Oh, you got big plans. He asking me all this stuff and I knew something was up. So I'm like, bro, like I don't even talk to you. Like we've had an issue from day one because you thought you needed to make an announcement about you're on the watch for athletes cheating. And I was like, you called out the 3 people you only have 3 athletes in your class and you decided to make that announcement. So and I brought that up to the teacher, to the council around the school, that was said. You know, nothing was there. That was no issue. It's allowed to be said. But you know that this comes back, and you know, and the funny part is this is a key part that I always stress to people. Everybody knows how grades work. You can calculate your grades as the year's going, and you know what you have to get on the final exam in
Right,
order to pass.
right.
I didn't even study for this class because no matter what, F through A, I was getting a C in that class. It didn't matter. I got a D. On the test they accused me of cheating, I got a D. And so I had to deal with the cheating case. I'm transferring to a new school and have a title as a quote unquote problem child because I said something about somebody saying they're going to hang me. And then I have to come to you and say, they're lying on me, but there is a cheating case. Luckily, I had the student lawyers were open with my Miami coaches and we're like, nah, they are lying on them. We got the facts. I was able to go to Miami. But that whole time I was at Miami, the case is still over my head. We're still having to admit discovery. We're still having pre-trials because my whole career does still lie on that.
Right.
Because if I get found guilty, then I'm not graduated from Virginia anymore and I'm disqualified and can't play football anymore.
Got you.
So I'm playing the whole year like that. Finally, the day before our Virginia Tech game, I get the official, they announce it officially, boom, 2 teachers lied, you're not guilty. We're sorry this all happened. Boom. Nothing happens to the teachers though. And that's still to this day, I kind of want to go back on that. It's like first of all, I had to pay to finish my last 2 classes. I should be getting that money back. And then 2 teachers should not be able to teach or be a part of teaching anymore.
Right, they lied.
Yeah, but that will never happen. But long story short, the next day, you could tell my dad even said, and everybody watching the game, they were like, you could tell like I just had a weight lifted on me. I had 12 tackles, a forced fumble the next day after the case was not guilty found. So I've been through a lot with football, but it is what it is.
So throughout all of this, because you've been through tragedy, you've been through challenges, a lot more than most people, I want to say. Then you get down to a point where you've been to the league. After your experience in the league, you go to CFL, and then you get to 2020. You get to a year where you had, I don't want to misquote, but you had the knee injury, ankle injury.
Knee injury, ankle injury. My team wouldn't allow me to get an MRI once I actually got hurt, so I had to fight for that. It felt like that whole year I was fighting for my life, and the long, the short of it, like I have to go into the GM's office and scream at the top of my lungs to get an MRI when I've already been told by another doctor that my knee is torn. I had to go fight to get proper rehab. The whole season they're lying to me about what's wrong, giving me pill cocktails. I had a full body shut down on the tar mat before a game, sweated through khaki pants.
Wow.
Because they gave me the wrong pills because they're trying to mask a fracture in my leg, and my ankle, I had a bruise on the bone in my ankle, and I didn't miss one game.
Wow.
Was out there playing. And so like you go through that, you taking the pills, then the pills stop working, then you trying to drink to like kind of compensate for it. Then my body had the whole shutdown, and I switched to using the cannabis and the CBD creams and stuff. That started numbing the pain for practice, but then it was like after practice, it would numb me for practice, but then after practice, I'm spending the whole day in agony. And at the same time, that's all happening, I'm telling people like, yo, I'm hurting, and being told, oh, it's just your IT band. Then they're telling people I'm faking. There's nothing wrong with them. Till I have to fight for a whole month after the season to finally, oh, damn, we interview it. Oh, you got a bone bruise on your talus, which is the whole mechanism that makes your ankle bend. That's all bruised on my ankle that I was faking about. And then I have a fracture and a tear in the knee that was my IT band.
Wow.
And this still was getting resolved as I was flying home for my mom's birthday in COVID. And, it was that was tough, you know. Like I said, I came home broken. Like I couldn't walk right. You know, I didn't really even know if I even wanted to play football again after just dealing with that. And then, you know, COVID shut down everything. So I wasn't even getting to properly rehab.
So I want to just kind of summarize this in the most respectful way, but you've been disrespected, lied on,
Mm-hmm.
lied to, and then you finally get to a place where you get to go home with your family. So you finally get around family, get around love. What are your next steps to kind of getting your shit together?
Uh, First thing, I think the biggest thing I did was, you know, I came home and I was around my people. You know, my mom, my best friend Jordan, calling me every day, checking on me. I mean, he was checking on me from Canada, even when I was in Canada. But just and then I got to see him. I hadn't seen him in about 2 years. Seeing my mom, you know, my dad came up here and checked on me a little bit. My boy Vinny, he owns a restaurant, probably like blocks down the house. I've been eating food there since third grade. He told me come chill with him. And you know, I had, you know, people, it was wasn't worrying about football, wasn't worrying about nothing else, but kind of getting my body together and being back around the people that cared about me. And then it was really just my mom kind of telling me, you're so much more than football. And so, you know, I started picking up my other passions, and also, while not going to rehab, getting my body together. So I rehabbed myself for 6, 7 months. I knew the muscles I had to strengthen and strengthen them on my own. To where when I just checked into rehab 3 months ago, they were like, "Man, you did a pretty damn good job on your own." Like I'm already back running and stuff full speed now, and like and competing in drills and all that. But
Awesome.
it really, you know, when the storm hit, I came home, started started a clothing company, started a cooking show, and you know, back chasing out of nowhere, back chasing the NFL dream one more time. So, you know, it all, you know, everything happens for a reason. You go through your struggles and you just keep trying to overcome them.
Definitely. And it definitely sounds like from a spiritual and mentality standpoint, you've overcame it. So I
Yeah.
want to double back to you said your closing line and cooking show. So
Hmm.
the world's on fire. You're going through more than anyone should, and you decide to. Your mom gave you some encouraging words, saying that you're so much more than football, and you ran with it. So tell us more about the clothing line and the cooking show.
Yeah, and so, you know, it's definitely been a big battle in our house, with COVID, being around the family, starting two businesses that are in person, I guess, in person type businesses. Definitely, you know, definitely was a big issue, but you know, you got to follow your heart and you got to follow the signs. And you know, I've prayed about all this, even down to returning to football again. Like in the past few months, I prayed and I talked to God. And you know, 2 days later, an agent that when I was coming out of college didn't even really think I could play. He wants to talk to me. You know, teams have shown interest, and then also my cooking show. Like I've always loved to cook. I've always been invited to restaurants to eat for free and post it on Instagram.
Right.
And you know, I said, well, instead of keep going and being at eating at all these places for free, let me let's start doing what I love. And so, you know, I've been going into mom and pop restaurants and cooking their most popular dishes to, you know, today, right before we're talking, I did sushi and ramen. So, you know, just following my passions, things have been clicking. And then, you know, I listen, another thing that's really gotten me through all this, I listen to like the same. It's just like a words of encouragement, spiritual thing. You know, listen to it 15 minutes a day, and it's a big thing in there that it reiterates is helping others will bring wealth and health to yourself, and that's something I've always done. Past 3 years I've been nominated for the Community Service Award up in Canada, giving back my time. And it's here. I've started an apparel company. The whole premise of my apparel company is helping other people bring their brands to life. I mean, we both know Leon. He has his LX that he's launched his art as an artist, and
Right.
I got the shirt on right now. I got the
Oh,
people
wow.
probably won't see that, but I wore his shirt today to cook in and helped him get that on some apparel. And
Listen.
there's tons of other brands. I met a foodie today. He needs a logo. I mean, I came up with one in a couple minutes for him. It's like, I don't even, it's not, a lot of times I should probably be charging for some of the stuff, and I don't even charge because, I really truly believe it all does come back around to you. And a lot of people would be like, damn, like, if you look at your life, it hasn't come back to you. But I'll be like, yeah, it has. I mean, 2 years after I was told I would never play pro football, I'm standing at the Super Bowl with both my parents outside smiling on the Seahawks. Like, so as for just as much trials I had to go through, I've had as much high points. I've been in the Super Bowl in both countries at the highest level of football. Not many people can say that. And I also been at the lowest point of football, dropped with no team, and people telling your parents you need to go to rehab and you have a drinking problem. So I've been at both ends, and it's like being at both ends, and I had to get through some of that even with my parents. And I could be honest, like, they didn't believe me when I told them what was going on at the school at first. They had to hear it from other people. And we had to get we I had to deal with a lot of that, and I think a lot of that boiled over into Canada because that doesn't leave you. I mean, like, I really had to fight for my life to get to the Seahawks, and then once I was there, you still fighting every day, and you don't even resolve half the stuff. Like, and it just finally all comes out, and be able to move on. And that's something like I'm able to talk to you about it now pretty openly and freely. And I
Right.
really think of it as something to motivate the next person. A lot of people are going to tune into this and be like, oh, he's dogging UVA. I'm not. UVA is a totally different place now. They got different coaches, people, they're winning games, they're doing stuff. I think differently.
Right.
It seems to be different, but at that time, at that place, you know, the KKK came a few years later. Like, that was the time down there.
Right.
And so, I've moved past that. I still talk about it to motivate people. Like, I'm watching Last Chance U right now. Some of these kids are at bottom. I just said, like, I was at the bottom like Joe.
Right.
They're telling my parents, like, I need to go to rehab. He needs to stop worrying about football. And it's like, yo, I'm exploding and all this because this coach told me he's gonna hang me. This coach made me run on painkillers when my thumb was torn. This coach just told me he's gonna make sure I never play pro football. This coach is running and telling you to send me to a rehab when I wouldn't even be doing none of this if it wasn't for them. Every other person on campus loved me, and I love being on campus everywhere except the football facility.
Mm.
And that's and so, like, I'm watching a show like Last Chance U. I know what they're going through just trying to make it out, just trying to beat somebody who is at every day coming at you, and you gotta stand there. I can't beat your ass, even though I can, because then I know I'll definitely never go nowhere. When you pull me in your office and you try to talk shit to me, and like, I've been there. I've had a coach by his neck and told him, "Don't ever speak to me before." Like, I've been in that spot. You can't continually be racist. You can't tell me I'm hanging around too many white girls. Like, You can't do that stuff and think it's okay. And after a while, people explode. And I think, and that's why I've coached 2 championship teams in another country. That's why I pick up kids and feed them before and after practice, because I know that somewhere down the line, like one of the kid, I used to pick him up, drop him off, get him food, give him my clothes. He's now the top prospect in Canada.
Wow. Awesome.
And so it's stuff like that. I know eventually, you know what I'm saying? I went through it. Maybe the next people won't have to, because somebody will hear this and make sure the next group of kids ain't going through it.
Exactly. And you touched on so many things. And I'm thinking about the theme that when you're going through all this, now once did you mention the challenge was I wasn't strong enough, I wasn't big enough, I wasn't smart enough, or anything on the field or that actually pertained to the sport of football or the classroom when you were a student athlete. It was the
I
people.
was all academic.
It was the people that's supposed to be there supporting you and aiding you through the experience that was holding you back. So I want to. I'm thinking about the theme of these people who are supposed to be there to help you through the process were the ones holding you back, and the fact that throughout the midst of all this, you were helping other people at a time where you could barely help yourself. So, what was your mentality during that point?
Um, you know, my mentality's always it goes back to my private school I went to, the William Penn Charter School, and it was always about the service of others. And I don't know, a lot of those times I would go out there because I was hurting so bad. And that would, yeah, man, it would be out, yeah, it would be tough. And it would be, let me go give somebody else positive energy instead of go be negative.
Mm,
And that's really what it was. Like, don't go drink, don't go run off here. Let's go help somebody else. Nobody wants to help you, but you gonna help somebody else. That got me through a lot of days, man.
great. This your story is amazing, and I just want to tap into. So you're going through all this, but you're still helping others. So it's like in your mind, you're saying everyone's treating me as if I'm this, like I'm being demonized. But at the same time, I know I'm a good person. I have the actions to show it. But at the same time, it's almost like part of you feels like you're kind of caving into what they're saying because you go into alcoholism. And I want to touch into that because it sounds like you went into alcoholism, but you kind of got over it. Or maybe you're still within that journey or process. So kind of talk to me of like about when you first got into alcoholism, kind of what was the journey of like transitioning to get out of it?
So I think the biggest thing was like getting to college, getting to college, it was all cool, like my first 4 years. Drink sometimes, boom, boom. And then it turned into once the I guess I would say once we got our new coaches and they brought in the new coaches, that's when I would say, like, I honestly I hated being a U I never hated being a Virginia student, but I hated being a UVA football player. And that's where it became. And I can, because I still kind of remember I had so much fun my first few years there with Coach Grow.
Mm,
And I love being there. And I'm still like, and that's the other thing, like, you can even see it in my friends. Like, all my friends from that football team that I'm closest to were all the old guys from Coach Grow. Like, you'll still see, like, you could just see on my Instagram this past weekend, I'm with Ray Nardhorn. I was with him every day when I was in college. I
right.
just saw Coulter Phillips. I was with him all the time. Nick Jenkins, Dom Joe. I was with all them. And it was like once they left, it was like, all right, they knew kind of my backup and my boys weren't there. And it was like the worst time. And for me also, even like that was the thing, because like once I left there, I went to Miami. I'm in the biggest party city out. No, No issues. 5:30 a.m. practice. I'm loving it. Boom. I gotta get a ride to practice from Storage every day. I'm there. What's up, Storage? Let's go. Damn, you not tired? Nah, you wasn't at Virginia. You don't know. Like them boys would be like, man, like days after a game, we got gassers. I'm not really saying much. Like, no, it could be worse than this. It's 110, and all we got to do is make a time. You don't got to make a time and got somebody that's going to cheat you on your time and start counting you faster than everybody else. We just got to make the time.
All you want is a playing field.
Yeah, and dude saw me. Like, that's why I got to the league. I went to Miami, got a fair shot at even playing field. As a nose tackle, getting double teamed in a 3-4, I was still our 5th leading tackler.
That's crazy.
Where at Virginia, you wouldn't even let me start. And we were number 5 in the country at Miami that year I started. We got all the way to number 5. We took some late losses.
Sheesh. So
yeah.
Within all of that, what would you change? If you could go back and know exactly what you're going to go through, what would you change to make you a better person?
I would have changed. I would have communicated more. I thought I had to do it all myself and couldn't trust my parents to tell them what was going on and was scared to tell people what was going on. Now that would be the only thing. Just communicate. I mean, I would communicate now. Bro, like they wouldn't give me my MRIs this year. Boom, I went right to the Players Association, got my MRI. Like that the same thing. Like he told me, instead of mealy mouthing, I'm gonna go to these professors and this. Nah, I should have came to my parents. Like the same way in the end, my mom went and blew up their whole spot. I should have went to her in the beginning. I mean, the same thing happened in the end. She still blew up the spot and called their card on all the shit that they was trying to pull. That's why nothing. You notice, like all this, I'm telling you, nothing ever made it to the news. My mom told them, "Nah, we're gonna leak none of this. This is all gonna be crickets. You trying to play this bullshit." And because she made it be crickets till the case was over. And then once the case was over, they were allowed to say whatever. And of course, UVA wasn't trying to announce they lied on somebody.
Exactly.
So it's funny how everything plays out. Still to this day, got guys who were down there around the time as me, who are poster boys for down there, be talking like, "Oh, that didn't happen." You can go look it up. It's public record. Take the time before you write an Instagram comment to go look up public record. That's the one beauty about that school.
Yeah, it's crazy because I know more about the honor code because of Haverford, not because of college. But it's so crazy to me how they'll use public records for everything else except for when it goes against what their beliefs are or their process is.
Yeah, that's that honor code thing and all the honor code stuff. Penn Charter has the same thing. I think they leave the honor code in place for the exact purpose that it leaves room for interpretation. That's why people leave the honor codes in place, because you can decide how you want to interpret it on that particular day in that particular case. But I think that's for another day. That's a conversation for another day.
No, seriously. You mentioned that the NFL is still a dream you're chasing again. It's almost like a surprise, like, wow, I'm chasing this again. Well, what's externally, what's next for Justin?
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm trying to initiate like a 2-year plan. Play 2 more years, do my cooking show, and be retired to the Jacksonville area. But be in Jacksonville, traveling around doing my cooking shows, and doing apparel, and
why Jacksonville?
My son's in Jacksonville.
Okay, all right. Cause I would say You mentioned
Yeah, everybody's like Jacksonville. That's like a random place. It's still hot. It's still hot, Florida.
Duval
But
County.
no, my son's there, and my one of my closest friends from the NFL, Ian Silverman, he's there, and we're already looking at buildings and acreage to open an O-line academy down there as well.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm definitely open to whenever you do because I still work out. I'm still in shape. So if you run the camp, I'm open to coming down.
All right, yeah, we got to get an East Coast camp popping too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We definitely should do an Interact online camp. I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
awesome. Like,
that would be because that I feel like honestly that's the position the Interact puts out D1 people at.
like the
It's all
smart
linemen.
linemen.
Yeah, yeah.
But nah, this has been awesome. Your story is off the charts, and I've learned so much about myself just from hearing that. The one key takeaway I've taken is communicating early and often. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like for so many of us, life can be so much easier if we just tell people what we're battling. And
Yeah.
maybe it won't make that particular situation better at that moment, but at least you personally and mentally will be at a place where you feel like I have a team or support system around me that I'm going to get through this. Because speaking for personal experience and others who may have been there, we have all picked up vices because we felt like we were alone.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that vice made us feel like we weren't alone.
Yeah. And that's the other thing for me. I went through that. Like, I can pick and choose when I'm gonna drink. Like the night we ran out and you guys performed, I was on water that night because I had workout. I had a big trainings those next 2 days. So
Right.
everything I feel is about growing in yourself, like you said, communicating, and also never doubting yourself. And that's what every little kid I try to do. Like I said to you before, I feel like I went through all this because God knew I could really lead kids and encourage kids. And so, yeah, I'm saying like people tried their hardest to break me in the past few years. And I strive on not being breakable. Like I go to people's face and say you can't break me no matter what. And that scares a lot of people because you could be hitting me and I'm not gonna flinch. And that scares people. And so I try to instill that in the little kids I coach, no matter what their situation is. Like I try to tell them, shit, as long as I'm employed in your city, I'm gonna be there for you.
Mm.
And that's risky when you coaching kids because it the past year, I got traded in the middle of the season. So I left 100 kids that I was readily helping.
Right.
That's affected me because some of them have gotten in trouble now because of it and things like that. I carry a lot of stuff on me. And a lot of people say I get too personal with too many people knowing I'm gonna leave, but I'd rather make the relationships than regret not having them. And so, I got kids all over the country and the world, I've helped. If you like I got kids DMing me from who knows where. I realize it's an actual kid genuinely asking for some help. I'm gonna give you the 5 minutes. It ain't gonna really kill me at the end of the day. So
Right.
that's what I try to do. And so many people say I help them, and boom, if I help one kid, I had a kid saying he was about to commit suicide. I sent him workouts for a week.
Wow.
And now I'll see him pop up on my John every once in a while, looking strong and fit now. And so it's like little shit like that. It's like I'm doing something right, even though all y'all motherfuckers try to attack me most days. And so
Right.
that's how I'm trying to operate, and just keep helping people.
Because you never know who has it worse than you, or someone always has it worse than you. And I think you're strong. I want to commend you for the way you've presented yourself throughout all the experiences because you could have been bitter and bashed a lot of different experiences and people, but you've always taken the high road and you've always took the opportunity to put others before yourself. And I think that's something a lot of people should take away from this conversation is that it's bigger than you. You had the opportunity to be selfish. I'm not going to help you. I can't even help myself right now. but like you put others before you, and I think that's awesome and that's powerful. Like that's some like immortal shit right there. You know what I mean? Like the weight of the world is on my shoulders, but I'm gonna help you. Like if you put that into perspective to someone telling you I'm about to commit suicide, you know how you could have said, "Well, shit, me too."
Yeah.
Like,
And I think though, like people like that come like I've been like I've been there like damn like everything's going wrong like why I want to still be around, but I can now go relate to you because I've also been like nah, I'm not gonna do that shit, like we can fight through this. And so I've been on both sides, and that's why I can get somebody to be like nah, like that's how I can tell him like nah, you just need to hit a couple workouts, because it was the same for me, like nah, I just needed to run a few more times, go up and down the basketball court. No, I still had the bounce in my calves. Boom, all right, I'm gonna hit the weights. Oh, I could get off. And then shoot, Miami calls you a month later.
right.
Like, yeah, we'll take you.
Like it's almost like God is testing you. Like, listen, let me
Yeah,
see how far He's willing to go to get out or break through this storm.
yeah. And I really like that is true. Like, I like that year I had the hanging. They tried to say I didn't break my wrist playing football. Then the cheating case. Then I had to pay for my own school, and then had to find another school to play the 5th year. That's 6 things in one semester.
Right,
You know how short a semester is. That's not a whole year. That's a semester.
right. You had the
And
load on you within what 4 to 5 months.
yeah, so it was a lot, but I think you know now I don't know. Now nothing really gets me down. Like starting a company, I it was just a challenge. Oh, I gotta figure out how to source this. Figuring out how to source something is okay. Yeah, I might have to call some people, figure out how to speak Pakistan, like speak to people in Pakistan and stuff. But
Right,
damn, somebody not trying to end my career though.
right.
And it's just like I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's easy, and then helping people is what I like to do, and
It's crazy because
everything's come together.
you have a lot more time on Earth. So like those experiences have put you in a place where moving forward, when quote unquote challenging or character building days come up, it's like this shit ain't nothing. Like that's kind of what it's
Yeah,
like to this point.
yeah.
And I thought I want to thank you for one sharing your story and being courageous enough to be vulnerable during this conversation. But want to transition over to I guess a lighter side of the convo, being that I am AKA Oxcord Bully. So I want to know if we're in the car right now and we're driving 30 minutes away, and I allow you to have the aux for the first 15 minutes. I will allow you to have it for the first 15 minutes. What would be the first 5 songs you play?
Uh, I definitely that's even if we weren't on the phone last night, that comes up in my thing. Yo, and I purely for the longest, I didn't even know the words. I only knew your ad lib at the end. Oh, I thought the hook was about to come in. I only knew that for the longest time. Yo, that's not even part of the song. But yeah, so that let's see. I'll go through what played today. So that then ain't nothing perfect. That
Okay.
Jones on my I have been listening to the lemon pepper
Yeah,
little Drake John. That John popping right now. And
undefeated.
then here I got my phone here. I was just listening to it because I just met him the other night. That's definitely in my top 5 because I've been on repeat with this. Uh, G, you know, Greg, G Reg.
Oh yeah.
So G Reg and Tory Rain, that believe he told me I got way better bars since then, but shoot, that song go. So I
Yeah.
would say that, and then I don't know why I've been listening to "How It Feel" by Money Man. I've been listening to those like 5. I've been listening this week to those 5 songs.
That's crazy. With
Yeah.
it last night, since I guess because you probably learned the word now.
Yeah.
What like made you like gravitate to the song last night?
I don't, shoot. I don't know. I think it was just everything, the words, with the meaning. Like if it's your last night or Earth, like for me, the song really started getting played a lot when I was coming back in rehab.
Got you.
So like the album had been out probably for a month, and I had just only really listened to Ain't Nothing Perfect and rapping all the words to that. And then it was when I started rehabbing. And then last night always seemed to come home when I'd be in knee, come on when I'd be in knee rehab. And that started getting me through it. And I had texted Lee a couple of times about the job. And that was before I even had met you.
Right.
And then and that was the thing, like, a lot of people don't realize how hard it is to get your knee. Like when a team forces you to go out there and play, and you don't have full mobility in your knee. I then have to rehab back to getting full mobility in your knee.
Exactly.
And thinking like it was, and that song kind of got me through that period where I'm going in there and that knee's not going straight. So it felt like, boom, I'm never gonna play again.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's going straight.
It's like,
And
yo, when you feel like you're on your last leg, last night, whatever,
yeah,
that conversation start getting real personal with God. Like, really?
yeah, yeah, like that. No, that was me. Like that's why we here right now. Like I prayed, and then that agent came. That agent came around. Like I swear he came like a couple of days later, like messaging me, and like boom, he messaged me. I got to rehab. Then a month later, I'm just messing around in drills. Didn't know anybody's recording it. They recorded it. That got sent out to some teams. Boom, 4 teams come back interested. Like, oh, yo, who's this boy that can move like that? Like,
Right.
and I'm like, damn, that's nothing. Like, that's just the warm up. I was just testing the leg out a little bit. Like,
I'm
come
kicking
see me in a couple months.
it.
So yeah, like, it's been like for me the whole football journey has been like built my faith, but it's like I talk to God different now. Like before I used to be, I'm praying, da, da, da. Now, and especially like my grandma just passed 3 weeks ago. It's just like I talk to him a lot more, and I've been crying a lot. Like ever since my grandma passed, I probably wake up in the middle of the night. I ain't been sleeping for the past few weeks good at all, but somehow I'm still like going to workouts, training hard. I did cooking shows, running from training to cooking shows, but doom, I might stay up 6 hours that night when I should be sleeping thinking about my grandma. So it just, just trying to keep pushing through another battle. That's how I feel like life is just a whole big test for me is how strong I can get. And I don't think a lot of people don't understand that like I do turn into a different person on the football field. And a lot of people don't understand that emotion where how I want to kill everything in sight. And like, some coaches, even sometimes some of my coaches can't handle that. Like you don't get in front of me when once it's game time because I don't have a filter. I'm trying to win. And some I don't have a break, and too many people told me I couldn't be in that position. So I'm trying to put it out. I'm trying to put the best thing out there and gonna give it my all. And that's where I think I hang my hat on. Like you could see me working out at Test in Jersey, or you can see me doing my nighttime cardio on the elliptical with the 8-pound vest on. Both workouts, I'm training them like I'm training to try to get another ring. And that's all that I ever think about is winning championships. And I've been blessed. I gotten 2 Most people don't even get one.
One, right. Listen,
And so, yeah.
the crazy part is, like, out of your entire story, when I really sum it up, it's like, it's always for you, it's been, what's next? What's fucking next? Because, like,
Yeah.
whatever, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to get through it.
Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. And it's crazy because that's literally what it is. Like, I got through the knee's feeling better. Now I'm trying to get through my grandma. I'm having a hard time with that, but I know I'll do it eventually. And I think the biggest thing, I'm getting through that by chasing football and doing the cooking show. She always used to instill in me, you're going to be a shining star. You're going to be a shining star. Like at Virginia, we just saw the pictures. Virginia, Georgia Tech. Virginia didn't play me at all. And my cousins and family, they were all there. And so I was embarrassed. Like I got no snaps. I had 12 people in the stands. She told me, came here, gave me a big kiss, and she whispered in my ear that I was gonna be a shining star. Don't worry about these people. You gonna see, you can play. And then that next year, I was at Miami starting. And then the following year I was in the Super Bowl. And so I just try to keep pushing with that same thought. Hopefully next year I'll be on Food Network or something. And we just keep going from there next.
Manifestation and, like, the power of words is crazy. Like,
Mm.
anyone could have said that to you, but something about when your grandmother, mother, and them say, or powerful women in your life say these things to you,
Mm-hmm.
run with it.
You run with it, yeah.
And, like, that's awesome. So I could only imagine how difficult of a time it is right now with dealing with your grandmother. But one thing I can say is that she was able to go away knowing that you were strong enough to deal with what you're dealing with moving forward. And
True.
it's crazy. Like, your story is phenomenal. I'm so glad you were able to get on the show today.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. I was not expecting you to reach out to me for this, but yeah, I appreciate it.
Nah, there's no way in hell I was not gonna reach out to you. This is honestly, I didn't even expect this. I thought we were
Yeah,
talking about something
I know.
completely
When you asked me it, I'll be completely honest. When you called me and asked me, I was like, I was sitting in the bed and I was like, dang. So am I gonna just like poo poo them and give them like, oh, I started in a apparel company, or am I gonna give them the real thing? And
Now,
so I was like,
what we needed, not just me, what we needed.
yeah,
Nah, but this has been crazy. So listen, um, I want to thank you for your time today, everyone. We
no
just heard
problem.
Justin Renfrow. And a year when the world was on fire, he got his shit together. So listen,
Yeah.
if anyone out there is watching this, you feel like you're in a place where you just can't get out of it, get your shit together.
Yeah.
Get your shit together. Listen,
And be encouraged.
but be encouraged. But once again, get your shit together. My name is Maj, aka Oxcore Bully, aka Big Sexy with the glasses. We just had another show of Road to Recovery. I want to thank you guys for listening.